everybody, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to talk about my most anticipated releases for the month of April through June. And usually I try to keep this list down to like 12 books, but that could not be accomplished for this one because I could not narrow it down because I'm so excited for so many of these books, so it just had to be done. So the first book technically does not have a title as of yet because they don't want to spoil it, but this is Brandon Sanderson Secret Project number 2. And if you did, you know, back the Kickstarter, you will get this book in April. And if not, you'll have to wait, I think, until June. So, you know, your chance is not, you know, out the window yet, but you have to wait for a little bit longer. And they won't look the same, if I remember correctly. But this is sort of, with the secret projects, you don't really want to show you like the covers, you don't really want to show you the title, and, you know, reading the synopsis or not is sort of optional. And I haven't read any of these synopsis because I don't want to know. Like the first project I did read for the sake of my most anticipated releases video, but this one I don't want to know because it's still a few months away from being sent to me. Anyways, so if you want to find out what this book is about, search it, look it up on Google or Goodreads for that matter. But if you did back the Kickstarter, this is supposed to be published on April 1st. And then the second book I'm interested in is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. This is supposed to be her new YA fantasy series. So in this one, we meet the main character, Tamsin. She never meant to be a Hallower, which is basically a mortal with no magical talent. She was never meant to break into ancient crypts or compete with sorceress or cunning folk, but that's basically where she ended up because her thieving foster father disappeared without a trace and without as much as a goodbye, and it's the only way to keep herself and her brother Cable alive. And then 10 years later, there are rumors swirling around the city that her guardian vanished with a powerful ring from Arthurian legend, and a run-in with her rival Emrys ignites Tamsin hope that the ring could free Cable from a curse that threatens both of them. But they aren't the only ones who covet the ring. So basically, we'll be looking for ring, trying to find it before it's too late. So this one is supposed to be published on April 4th. And then we have Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. I don't know if that's how you pronounce the title, but we'll go with it. So I do own by Fonda Lee. Still haven't read it, but I know it's a very beloved series. So technically this book shouldn't be on my list because I haven't read the one I have, but I don't care because the cover looks kick-ass and she's a very beloved author, so I'm just gonna go with this. But this is supposed to be an adult fantasy, and it's sort of a novella, so it's only like 160 pages. But, you know, it's not gonna stop me from reading it. So in this one we meet Esther, and her family was torn apart when a manticore killed her mother and her baby brother, leaving her with nothing but her father's painful silence and a very overwhelming need to kill the monsters that ended up killing her family. And that means that Esther's path leads to the King Royal's Muse, where the giant rocks of legend are flown to hunt manticores by their brave and dedicated workers. And she ends up getting paired with this powerful fledgling rock, and she ends up finding purpose and acclaim by devoting herself to to a calling that demands absolute sacrifice and a creature that will never return her love. It's a novella, so it will be a quick read, so it doesn't matter if it's on this list, right? But this is supposed to be published on April 11th. And then we have The Warden by Daniel M. Ford. This is supposed to be an adult fantasy novel with LGBTQ+ representation, which is always fun. So basically this is supposed to be about female necromancers. So basically the main character Alice had plans laid out for her. She was to become one of the only female necromancers, pass as many certifications as possible, get posts near the capital, and then profit. But the funny thing is that your plans never actually works out the way you planned them, because you very rarely could control them. So Alice is now a daughter of a noble house and a trained magister of the Lyceum. She finds herself in the far removed village of Lone Pine, mending fences and delivering baby goats, serving people who want nothing to do with her. But not all is well in Lone Pine, and the villagers Alice is reluctantly getting to know starts to behave very strangely. Alice begins to suspect that there's far greater need for a warden of her talents than she previously thought. You know, old magic or restless and stuff is going on, so sounds really interesting. And this is supposed to be published on April 18th. Now we actually have an adult romance book, and this is Happy Place by Emily Henry. And we get to follow Harriet and Win, and they used to be the perfect couple. They met in college, they got to know each other, they fit together like pepper and salt, and you know, for some reason they broke up a couple of months ago, and they make a pact to pretend to still be together for their annual week-long vacation with their best friends, and you know, shit goes awry. I have read 2 of Emily Henry's books so far, really loved them, definitely want to read more, so I'm all here for this. And this is supposed to be published on April 25th. And then we have one very exciting thing, and that is Rick Riordan's new release. So we have The Sun and the Star by Rick Riordan and Mark Oshiro. And this is supposed to be Camp Half-Blood Chronicles number 17. So in this one we'll meet the demigods Nico D'Angelo and Will Solace, and you know, they have to rescue the world and protect it against, you know, some mythical creatures. And that's all I'm gonna say, because, you know, spoilers. But I thought that Rick Riordan was done with, you know, the mythology world and the characters that we all know and love so much. So I'm really excited for this one. And this is supposed to be published on May 2nd. And then we have The Isles of the Gods by Amy Kaufman, which is a new young adult fantasy series. Look at that cover, it's so gorgeous. How can you not want to have it in your hands? So, I mean, it's supposed to be about slumbering gods. So we meet character Sally, and her father basically leaves her high and dry to travel the seas. And she ends up meeting this sort of dark, mysterious prince, Leander of Alinor, and he needs to cross the Crescent Sea without detection so he can complete a ritual on the sacred Isles of the Gods. And Sally has no desire whatsoever to escort this prince anywhere, and she has no time for his entitled demeanors or his good looks. But what started as a leisure cruise will lead to an act of treason and sheer terror on the high seas, bringing 2 countries to the brink of war, 2 strangers closer than they ever thought possible, and 2 dangerous gods stirring from centuries of slumber. How good does that not sound? Like I said, I love reading books about gods. So this is also supposed to be published on May 2nd. Then we have Imogen, obviously, which is Becky Albertalli's latest novel. I am sad to say that I have not caught up yet because I haven't read Katie Wedding. I don't even own it. Embarrassing, but I will get to it. But this is her new young adult contemporary, and this is supposed to have LGBTQ plus representation like most of her books have. So basically we meet Imogen, and she is sort of hopelessly heterosexual, but she is definitely of the Pride Alliance because she never missed a Pride Alliance meeting. She's gone on the Pride festivals and everything like that. She knows a lot about the queer media discourse, and she also has a very queer little sister. Hi, Lenny. She also has 2 queer best friends. So her friends are Gretchen and Lily, and Lily is newly out and about her sexuality in college. And Imogen is thrilled for Lily, but she gets put sort of in a little bit of an awkward situation when she goes to visit Lily at her college, and it turns out that she tells her friends that she used to date Imogen, which is not true, but Imogen pretty much plays along, pretends that there are friends who are also exes. And what makes it even more chaotic is the fact that none of Lil's friends, not even her best friend at college, actually knows that Imogen is in fact heterosexual. So I'm guessing drama ensues, and also maybe Imogen does start questioning her sexual orientation. We'll see. Anyways, this one is also supposed to be published on May 2nd. Then we have The Water Outlaws by S.L. Huang. And this is supposed to be an adult fantasy book that also has LGBTQ plus representation in it. This is supposed to be inspired by classical martial arts literature. So we meet Lin Chong, and she is an expert in arm instructor, and she knows how to handle battle axe, spear, a lance, and a crossbow. And she, unlike her friends, believes in keeping her head down and staying out of trouble and just, you know, doing her job. But that is until a very powerful man with a vendetta rips that carefully built life away. And disgraced, tattooed as a criminal on the run from the Imperial Marshal, who will stop at nothing to see her dead, Lin Chong is recruited by the bandits of Liangshan, mountain outlaws on the margins of society. The Liangshan bandits proclaim a belief in justice for women, for the downtrodden, for progressive thinkers. A corrupt empire would imprison or destroy. They're also murderers, thieves, smugglers, and cutthroats. I mean, that sounds amazing, and also the cover is freaking gorgeous. And this is supposed to be published on May 9th. And we have Of Light and Shadow by Tanas Pathina, which is a young adult fantasy novel. And we meet Roshan Shaya, and she's out for justice. She was abandoned by her parents at birth and adopted by the Kingdom of Javala, their most notorious bandit before his brutal murder. And she's now the leader of the Shadow Clan, which is a gang of famous turned bandits impoverished by the provincial governor's atrocities and corruption. That's a tongue twister. But Roshan's goal is to avenge her adoptive father and earn back rights and dignity for her people. And then we also meet Prince Naveen, who's always felt like an outcast, and he is second in line for the throne. He has never been close to his grandmother, Queen Biravi of Javala. And then after a night of drinking and hanging out with his friends, leads to him being captured by the infamous Shadow Clan, and Naveen schemes to befriend Roshan and use her as a means to escape. His ploy, however, brings Naveen closer to the corruption and poverty at the heart of Roshan's province, and raising questions about it, governor, and Naveen's own family. So, dun dun dun. And this is supposed to be published on May 23rd. And then we have Witch King by Martha Wells, and this is supposed to be an adult fantasy with sort of paranormal aspects with like witches and magic and stuff like that, which I'm all here for. So basically, Kai was murdered, but his consciousness is dormant and unaware of the passing of time, and he's sort of confined in a very elaborate word trap. But then Kai wakes to find the lesser mage attempting to harness Kai magic to his own advantage, and that was never going to end up well. and that's when Kai tried to find out why he was imprisoned in the first place and what has changed about the world since his assassination, and you know, what's going on. So that sounds really cool. Never really read a book about that type of thing, I don't think. Anyways, this is supposed to be released on May 30th. And then we have Deep as the Sky, Red as the Sea, Borita Chan epic. And this is supposed to be a historical sort of fantasy. And it's supposed to be pirates. We really need that much more information than that, because I love pirates. I love reading about pirates, and there's not enough books about pirates, honestly. So basically, the main character's husband gets killed by a pirate and she's out for revenge. And that's all I need to know, because pirates. Anyways, this is supposed to be published on June 6th. One of my author authors again. And this is Borrow My Heart by Casey West. If you have ever seen my shelves, you know I have a lot of Casey West books. We have them right here on the pile right there. The majority of them, not all of them. So basically, our main character Ren overhears this guy being sort of, you know, teased about his friends that he got catfished on a dating app, and Ren makes the very unlike her sort of rushed into decision to pretend to be the girl that the guy Asher's actually talked to online to help him save face from his friends. But the thing is, Asher doesn't know that Ren is only pretending to be the girl from the dating app, so it's a little bit awkward from there, I'm guessing. But I love Casey West books so much, so I'm really looking forward to this one, and it seems really cute. And this one is supposed to be published on June 13th. And then we have another one of my most anticipated releases, obviously, because that's the entire point of this video, but it's also one of my author by authors that has not released a book in a while, so I'm really excited. But this is Something Close to Magic by Emma Mills. Look at the cover. Her covers are always the most beautiful ones, and I love it. This is actually supposed to be sort of a romantic young adult fantasy, which is new for Emma Mills because she usually writes like YA contemporary, so a little bit scared but very excited at the same time. I don't really want to tell you everything it's about, so I'm just going to read the first little bit. And it says, a baker's apprentice reluctantly embarks on an adventure full of magic, new friendships, and a prince in distress in this deliciously romantic young adult fantasy that's perfect for fans of Margaret Rogerson and Gil Carson Levine. There's supposed to be magic, bounty hunters. I'm here for it, honestly. And this is supposed to be published on June 13th as well. And those were all of the like 5 billion books I'm interested in the coming 3 months, so you know, prepare for that. Are you looking forward to any of these books or any like other books that I did not mention on this list? Please let me know down below so that I can check them out, or anyone else can for that matter. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this quite long video, honestly. Yeah, and I hope we see each other in the next one. Bye.